Hey everyone, Liz here, obviously, Proof of Life in December of 23. I've just completed reading this entire book to you, chapter by chapter. They're all 20 minutes or so, and I wanted to do the individual chapters so you could study each one, listen to each one maybe a couple of times. And I think their smaller pieces are helpful. I wanted to talk about some ideas of how to use this book. First of all, I really like Anthony Norville's work because I like his verbiage. I like how he writes things. And I think he writes beautifully in terms of the affirmations and stuff. So, and I don't want his work to be lost. This book did cost me around $49, I forget. And it's a lot. So I don't want his work to be lost, and I wanted to make sure we all are there hearing it. So I wanted to talk about ways I think we can use this book. So I find the terms telecosmographs and telecosmograms very unwieldy and gimmicky, and I don't really like it very much. They're unwieldy to read 1,000 times over too. So you could just think of them as keywords, which are two keywords: I, whatever, I am, I increase, whatever. And then the phrases that go with it. And the whole point, if you've listened to the book, you know, it's like, duh, Liz, shut up. The whole point is you program your subconscious mind with two keywords with the phrase. And then eventually your subconscious just has to hear it one time, and then it knows it. So you simply have to say, I increase, or I unite, or I am, and it understands it. So the idea is you can just code it and not even say all the words. So getting that idea, I believe all the 15 chapters in this book are basically different ways into the subconscious that you can try and use. So there's a lot of ways. So obviously, do as you see fit. It's just I have some additional ideas. If you want to stick with me in this video, I can add some more ideas. You can pick a chapter that appeals to you after reading the book through once or twice and just go with that one. Like the last chapter is a very good idea. You can go through the last chapter we just read and just do all of that and go for it. You can take a chapter a week and focus on that and do what he says for each chapter. You can take a chapter a month, and then in about a year, you've got it all down for the rest of your life. I also wrote down, you can, I feel like for me though, what I do is I like all his verbiage, and I want it all. I want all of life. I want an all fulfilled life. And so I like all of his verbiage. So I find myself, for example, I've written down a lot of the I's, in this book. So sometimes and I carry this book with me, obviously this video is not scripted, but I'm sitting here with my tea with you guys today. But if I'm in a busy line, or even if I'm at a stoplight, a really long stoplight in Fayetteville, I'll just read these out. I've also highlighted parts of the book, which I want to read out loud to myself. So I will simply, of a morning, it takes 40 minutes. I'll just read the whole thing in the whole book. I'll read all of it. And I don't use the keywords so much. I like all the verbiage. So for example, in this page, instead of saying I achieve, I just say, I now project to my subconscious mind the desire to create high and inspiring ideas to project through my voice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I like it all. So I write it out. I read it out into a recorder on my phone and listen to it. I write it out. I type it out. I sometimes write it out, like I'll handwrite it. I'll type it out. And if I do get a typed big copy of it, you can feel free to email me and I'll email it to you if I've done that work. I've done a bunch of them, but I haven't done every single one. So I wanted to just point this kind of thing out to you. Let's see. I do carry the book with me on trips because I find it super useful. I mean, there are 100 New Thought authors out there, but I really appreciate him, and I'm going to tell you why. I carry this book with me and I just read it through every day, most of the time. I would say, you can tell in this book and in all manifesting work that something can take 3 hours to manifest. It can manifest instantly. It can take 3 years. It can take 10 years. But I would suggest whatever manifesting work you do, don't give up and don't go away. What are you going to do? Lay down and wait for death? So I would just simply do the work. Don't give up. Don't go away. And I would say another reason I like this book, I like Anthony Norville's work, is because he often hung out with the rich and famous. And he was not embarrassed to, or didn't think it was ethically immoral or silly to want beauty or handsome good looks or riches and fame and celebrity stuff. So he was the only author I've encountered that is not doesn't mind talking about fame and celebrity status and wealth and being with the rich and famous. I'm not super interested in all that all the time. However, I like pushing the edges of like, if you want fame, get fame. If you want wealth, have wealth. And it's like, it's not like too moral or too high-minded to think about having money and riches and wealth, and just having the beautiful home to have a beautiful home. I mean, God, I think, wants us to expand, so we can expand in our intellectual capacity, our enculturation, our loves, our loving, and our things, what we accumulate. I don't see a problem with any and all of that. There's a lot of judginess out there and new thought work about you have to do it for productive, useful reasons, and you have to. And I do think it's good to want things for good and for the good of others. I have a little sheet here of like things that I like to do every day. One of them being leave the wood pile higher than I found it in everything I do. So, and like always leaving beauty and goodness around. But sometimes you just want to drive a nice car. And I don't have a problem with that. So I wanted to just point this book out. Use it any way you want. You can use the keywords, to represent the key phrases that he presents. But I like all the words. I think he writes really wonderfully. And so I wanted to just come online and say hi to you all and happy holidays, and just say, use it any way you want. But this whole book, every chapter is presenting different ways of the same thing, kind of like different ways to access the subconscious. But anyway, take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.